MashaAllah. Now that is entering you into the door of Islam. Okay? There's a little something that goes with it. So we'll sit down. I'm going to try to say the rest of it. Congratulations. By the way,
What is her name?
Carmine. Yes. So take good care of her. You got a responsibility. Big responsibility. And this is something very beautiful when somebody enters into Islam. It's an amazing thing. Now, what happens when you see somebody come into Islam and all of a sudden they burst into tears? Have you wondered what's happening? Because you guys didn't see this, but I've been in prisons with some very big guys, okay? Very mean, got scars on their face, tattoos all over them and everything. And then they're saying, I want to be a Muslim. And you're going, okay. And they come up to you and they start to give shahada, and all of a sudden they just break down. Tears falling down from their face and they're shaking like there's an earthquake. And everybody's staring at them going, that's Billy Bob, man. What's happening? Because there's something that is really physically happening to a person when they enter into Islam. And anybody who did this knows exactly what I'm talking about. And it always gets me every time. Because I can go back and remember how it felt when I did it. Because when a person chooses to enter into the submission of Allah, He bestows down upon them a mercy from Himself, or as it's called in Arabic, rahmah min Allah. And when this rahmah descends down, it is so powerful. It is so powerful. And this is talking about like Laylatul Qadr, when this comes down and they feel this thing, you can't explain it. But it takes away all of the sins that the person has committed from day one up to that very minute. All is forgiven. Everything. The clean slate, but it's not left blank for long, because an equal weight of good deeds is heaped on here to offset, so that they have piles and piles of nothing but good deeds. Forgiven by Allah, no bad deeds, mountains of good deeds, virgin like a newborn baby. You start over, totally clean. This is what was mentioned by John the Baptist. This is what was mentioned by the Prophet Jesus, peace and blessing be upon him. And it was mentioned by Muhammad, peace be upon him, the same way. It says that when a person enters into Islam, when a person comes into the fold of submission to God, to do His will on earth as it is in heaven, then they're like they're newborn, fresh from their mother. Just like newborn. And certainly when you're newborn, you'd have a feeling about that, wouldn't you? That's a pretty amazing thing to come into the world. And so this is what happens. This is why you see even tough people suddenly going and crying, because it's for real. Some of you know the story and some of you don't. But it was right here in Fort Worth, Texas, right close to here, actually called Midlothian. Do you know where's Midlothian?
Yeah.
I had to make a decision, because one night the Catholic priest who was living with us had gone to the mosque right over here in Arlington on Center Street. He went in there with this Arab friend of mine named Muhammad. And when he came back that night, he was wearing a thobe and a kufi.
Lord.
And I said, "This is Father Peter Jacobs. Did you become a Muslim?" And he said, "Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah." I grabbed my camera. We used to have a TV show, so I grabbed my camera, I set up the tripod, I got everything going, got the lights out, microphone. So I'm going to interview, and this is going to be an amazing thing for anybody. I remember I was still Christian, and I'm telling him, "Please give us some sense of the idea. What is it like to be a Catholic priest, and now you're a Muslim?" And he fell asleep. And I'm sitting there like, oh well. But I couldn't get it out of my mind, and I went upstairs. We lived in my father's house in very big. I was upstairs. I was telling my wife, the one I had then was a Christian, I said, can you imagine a Catholic priest? I mean, he gave up everything because the Catholic priest, you know, a Catholic priest, he doesn't have a wife, he doesn't have a family, it's nothing, it's the church and that's it. And he gave up 14 years of being in Mexico, South America, Central America as an evangelist type priest for them, one who is really working for the sake of the church. And he accepted this money. Immediately the church excommunicates him, you know that. Cuts off communication with God means you're going to hell, according to them. I was telling my wife about this. And in the middle of me talking to her about this, she said, I want a divorce. And I went, huh? Well, there's a shocker. Wait, excuse me, hold on. I got 7.5 years invested in this lady and 2 little kids, and I've been through that divorce thing before in the state of Texas, and you don't want to know what that is. And I'm going, no. Well, what's the problem? She said, well, all this talk about ISLAAM, religion, etc., and I've decided now I can't be married to you anymore. I said, well, why? She said, you heard what he said, a Muslim can't be married to a Christian. I said, well, first of all, did I say I want to be a Muslim? I did not say I want to be a Muslim. Just to put your mind at ease, I do not want to be a Muslim. Okay? Okay? Are you okay? Because I don't. That's the furthest thing for me is to be a Muslim. Okay? I like it. And then I mentioned to her, and he didn't say Muslims can't marry Christians. What he said was that a Muslim woman can't be married to a Christian man. Okay? So, she said that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Allahu Akbar.